Hello everyone, welcome to another draft class recap video. Today we're talking about the San Francisco 49ers. Let's begin. Honest note, almost didn't make this today because it is humid AF in the Midwest right now. I haven't had a haircut in 6 months. I'm not taking the hat off to show you because it's embarrassing. Yeah, I just not feeling it, but it's about to be June. We're still doing draft class recap videos. We need to get this finished. So let's move along. All right, the 49ers. Impressive first 2 years under general manager John Lynch. The Super Bowl appearance was phenomenal. I absolutely am intrigued by this team, what they've done on defense, how they've run their offense. You're looking at a very stable, well-run team that has a lot of youth at a lot of key positions. They have a number of years before contract talks start becoming a thing of reality, and where they're going to have to spend a lot of money. Now, for this draft, they entered originally, we're only going to enter with 1 first-round pick and then not too much of anything else. It was kind of a agreed upon scenario going into this process that the 49ers were going to have to trade out of the first round and acquire more picks because all they had was the 31st pick and then nothing until the 5th. So given that sort of idea, a lot of people, when they did their mock drafts for this, didn't really have the 49ers pick taken too seriously because they just assumed that they weren't going to make it. But then, surprise to all of us, they trade DeForest Buckner to the Indianapolis Colts to get another first-round pick. So now they have, I believe it originally was the 12th pick, if I'm not mistaken, because they ended up trading back with Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay gets Tristan Wirfs, and then, we'll get into that in a minute. So, actually, let's just begin because the next point that I want to make comes with the next pick. So, beginning with round 1, pick 14, Javon Kinlaw, defensive tackle from South Carolina. The rich get richer. This defensive line is ridiculous. With you still have Solomon Thomas, Nick Bosa, and now you have Javon Kinlaw added to the mix. DeForest Buckner, who? I mean, come on, this is ridiculous. It's just cheating at this point. I was honestly surprised Kinlaw fell this far, and he's a player that I really liked going into this because just everything, his whole story, his interviews were great. And he just seems like a real freak athlete. So I'm very excited to see him play at the next level. Finishes a career in college with 82 tackles, 17 tackles for loss, and 10 sacks. 9th in the SEC last year in sacks with 6. So as I said, defensive line absolutely gets better. And it's just going to be a nightmare going up against this front 7 that the 49ers have. Moving on. Now, this is where we talked about potentially trading out of the first round with this pick. But they decide to trade up, because John Lynch does not give any Fs. Round 1, pick 25, Brandon Ayuk, wide receiver from Arizona State. There was some obvious chatter and debate about whether or not Brandon Ayuk was worth trading up for and, even a first-round pick to begin with. But I think he fits the 49ers mold of what they want to do with guys like Deebo Samuel. And to be fair and preface it, they also traded away, what's his name, Marquise Goodwin. So he's no longer with the team, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. But I believe he's gone. Brandon Ayuk's college career, 98 catches, 1,666 yards, 11 touchdowns. Second in the Pac-12 last year in receiving yards with 1,192. And fourth in the Pac-12 last year in receiving touchdowns with 8 total. He's also able to do kickoff returns and punt returns. He did a lot of that during his time at Arizona State. So if he needs to slide into that role, he can do that as well. And then moving on, after a serious drought of picks, we move on to round 5, pick 153, Colton McKivitz, offensive tackle from West Virginia. I think they came away with this, with the offensive line being okay because they got Trent Williams. How can you argue with that? Moving on to round 6, pick 190, we got Charlie Werner, tight end from Georgia. Not much in terms of actual production as a receiving tight end, 34 catches, 376 yards, 1 touchdown, which came last year during his final season at Georgia. This is a run-blocking tight end who is very good at it. And I think that's another aspect of the same, sort of critique that I gave the Brandon Ayuk pick. The Charlie Werner pick fits what the 49ers want to do. They are a run-first team, and they are a pound it down your throat. And getting a run-blocking tight end who could even end up surprising, because as somebody astutely pointed out that George Kittle coming out of the draft only had X number of catches and didn't have a very impressive stat sheet to wow us all. So maybe a diamond in the rough, but at least from, an outsider's perspective, this just seems like they're getting more stout in the run blocking game, so that they can continue to do what they did in the almost said Kyle Shanahan offense that last year. So interesting pick. Moving on, round 7, pick 217, Juwan Jennings, wide receiver from Tennessee. Pretty impressive career for his time in Tennessee. 146 receptions, 2,153 yards, 18 touchdowns. Fifth in the SEC last year in receiving yards with 969. Nice. What's not nice is Juwan Jennings' off the field problems, and most notably how he does not, but he has a history of arguing and not getting along with coaching and staff. So he was dismissed from the team originally, came back, gets suspended for the first half of a bowl game. There was a high school story that I read where he did not want to run sprints in wintertime, so he decided, F that, I quit. So there's some character red flags here with Juwan Jennings. I don't know that, sometimes wide receivers come out with these flaws and they don't exactly succeed at the next level. He's got the skill and potential to be a successful NFL wide receiver, but how often do seventh round picks pan out? So it remains to be seen. I think the wide receiver situation in San Francisco is good enough where he's not going to have to contribute immediately. He can sort of ease in to the offense and the next level. So we'll see how that goes. All right, that is all for the San Francisco 49ers. Not a lot of picks. Had they not made the DeForest Buckner trade, we'd be talking about one less pick, as a matter of fact. But still a very good haul. I'm impressed with John Lynch as far as his GM duties go for the first 2 years. How could you not be? I mean, show me a guy who's had a better track record the first 2 years with this. I mean, Nick Bosa did kind of fall into his lap last year with the situation that he inherited. But as far as this draft goes, I think he did very well. I mean, I absolutely love Javon Kinlaw. Brandon Ayuk is a great player. As far as the pick of the magnet of jealousy, I mean, there's only 5 picks up here, so it's really just kind of hard. And one of them's a blocking tight end, and I at least give them credit for taking a blocking tight end in the 6th round and not in the 2nd round like the Cincinnati Bengals did with Drew Sample a year ago. But I guess if I'm going to be jealous of somebody, it's going to be Javon Kinlaw, because let's face it, the Minnesota Vikings need a defensive tackle up help. Although I am pretty happy with the free agent pickup Michael Pierce that we got and the draft pick that we got from Baylor. As far as who I'm interested in, or like I keep forgetting what this magnet's called, the magnet of intrigue, I guess we're calling it. I guess it's Brandon Ayuk, because I'm not really intrigued by a 7th round wide receiver, a blocking tight end, or an offensive tackle from West Virginia. I mean, there's not a lot of choices here, so you're gonna have to roll. You're gonna have to roll with it, with me on that one. All right, so thank you guys very much for watching this episode of Draft Class Recap. We're almost done. We're getting there. I'll see you in the next one.